Encryption keys in Space Station 14 are what allows you to communicate on specific radio channels. So, there's a bunch of different headsets in the game. There's headsets like the Command headset, which have every single radio channel in the game other than Centcom and Syndicate. And then there's also other headsets, obviously like the medical headset that only has medical. And then you have these like hybrid headsets that heads have that let them contact their own department and command specifically. Now, basically, you're just going to start with whatever headset is related to your jobs. If you're a passenger, you'll only have common. If you're a chef, you'll have service in common, and so on. I'm not going to explain every single role. So, like, if you have a command headset, you can use any of these channels. And to talk in any of those channels, you just type in :E for engineering and say hi. And then, obviously, your message in the top right will go to the engineering branch. There are two ways that those messages won't be sent. One is if the telecoms is either sabotaged or out of power, or two, if somebody's using a radar jammer or like EMP'd you. Every station job from common, so like there's service, science, medical, supply, common, engineering, command, and security. If any one of these computers is specifically destroyed or the power for this room is turned off, you will not be able to use those specific radio channels. So for example, telecommunication servers can either just be smashed apart, or you can take them apart. So if you right-click to begin construction, it will say to create, open the maintenance panel, so you just have to screwdriver it. And once the panel's open, you just use a crowbar. And they'll say, you pop out the encryption key. So now, there is no encryption key in this telecom server. So now if I try to use common, if you try to speak in common now, it'll say, I don't know, I type in Nell, hello. It'll say failed to send message because the server is hacked. You pop it back in. It works just like normal. So you could come here to steal encryption keys or just sabotage the servers. Now, there's another benefit to the telecom server room specifically. So if you have just like a passenger headset, for example, obviously it just comes with common. But you could always just go up to a server and be like, so if you break in here, you want engineering, but you don't want to steal an engineering headset, you can just pop the engineering out and put it in your headset. But the problem is, if you do that, there would be no comms for engineering. So, just like how you could pop encryption keys out of telecom servers, you can pop them out of any headset. You just have to screwdriver it. And it will just pop all the encryption keys out. And if you ever get your hands on a command headset, you can screwdriver that one. And it'll have this thing, the station master encryption key. And really, that's like, it's just a master key of the station. It has, I mean, that's why it's called the master key. It has every station, or it has every single comm on it that's normal, other than Syndicate and Centcom, like I said. And the reason why that's important is because you can't just collect them all. Headsets have a limited number of encryption keys, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4. There is no place for another encryption key. Normal headsets can only have 4 encryption keys in them. So you can't just steal your way up to all headset access, so that's something to keep in mind. Another thing to mention is that you can actually just make telecom servers if one ever gets destroyed. Making a telecommunication server is actually really easy. You just need the board, which science could print out, and some maps have a few extra mapped. And what you do is you just go into your crafting menu, you get a machine frame, and then you just follow the steps as you would to build the machine. And all that's required for a telecom server is 1 more steel and 2 more cables. And now you just screwdriver it again. And now you have a working telecom server. But in order to put anything in it, you have to screwdriver it again. And I could throw in common. And just like that, you can reestablish comms pretty easily. So the problem with telecoms, well, it's not a problem. Telecoms by design are kept in one place, and it makes it easy to sabotage all the radio channels. So science is on top of their game, and engineering has a board or two just kept around. They can restore the more commonly needed radios. So like they could prioritize starting with security and work their way up to like common. And you could also argue that common is the most useful, but that's off topic. Either way, that's basically everything about encryption keys. The only other one that you can actually get in gameplay that doesn't have a server that works differently is the Syndicate encryption key. And you can purchase this from the uplink. And basically the Syndicate encryption key has this cool sprite, it's blood red, and it will say the key of the Syndicate. And if you try to talk to the Syndicates, you say hello. There is no comm server for the Syndicate encryptions, so you don't have to ever worry about losing access to your buddies or your potential enemies. Not everyone who picks it up as a friendly. But it's worth mentioning that if you buy Syndicate encryption keys, it doesn't always mean that Syndicate's going to have their hands on it. Like, security could get their hands on it and be using it to trick you. So, just something to keep in mind. But yeah, that's really it about encryption keys.